Madeira or Cyprus? Which location is best suited for your project? You'll find out in the following video. Hello and welcome. I'm Florian Wilk, Managing Director of CMC, and for 15 years now, our main office has been in Larnaca, Cyprus. But we also have several other fantastic locations, for example, right here in the beautiful island of Madeira, Portugal, as well as in the vibrant countries of Ireland, Georgia, and Singapore. In today's comprehensive video, I want to thoroughly compare the wonderful destinations of Cyprus and Madeira and provide you with a few essential pointers if you are currently facing the significant decision which business location is truly best suited for me and my specific project requirements. So maybe one thing in advance regarding tax residency. Of course, there are also various differences between Portugal and Cyprus in that respect. That's not my topic. Today, for that, I would definitely recommend booking a consultation appointment. You'll find a link below the video where you can actually book a free consultation appointment, an initial assessment, and then we can discuss your project individually. In this video, I'm specifically focusing on the differences at the company level, regardless of your personal tax residency. So let's compare. The corporate tax rate in Madeira is 14.7%, but in the special economic zone, the International Business Center, it's only 5%. So 5%, I'm going with the best case scenario here, so to speak, because it's relatively easy to meet these criteria. 5% corporate tax on the Madeira side. On the Cypriot side, we have 12.5% corporate tax, so it's already significantly higher. Now, it has to be said, in practice, we're often a few percentage points lower in Cyprus because we have many soft factors. That really needs to be mentioned again from the Cypriot perspective. On the other hand, we also have the IP box regime. For example, software licenses or patents, they are even 80% tax exempt, so you effectively end up with only 2.5%. But that's relatively rare because you need this specific kind of software or a comparable industry for it. That just doesn't fit everyone. That's why I'm going to focus on the most common scenarios. The most common scenario in Madeira for you as a non-local is the IBC with 5%, the Special Economic Zone, and Cyprus with 12.5% corporate tax. So the point is clearly made, Madeira. Of course, much less than 5% is not possible. And as I said, this is certainly possible for the vast majority of projects. Now we come to the withholding tax. Withholding tax. We have neither on the Cypriot side nor on the Madeira side. So here too, everything is regulated fairly and actually identically in both jurisdictions, in both locations. So less than zero is not possible, that's clear. No withholding tax on profit distributions, an important point. Then the value-added tax. Here, that's not even my main concern. The amount of value-added tax is usually not decisive in the B2B sector. But it's important, both Cyprus and Portugal are, of course, EU members. And unlike the Canary Islands, Madeira is fully integrated into the value-added tax system, the VAT system of the European Union. That means you have a valid VAT ID number or VAT number for the Madeira company, but just as well for the company in Cyprus. So here too, both companies receive a VAT number, a value-added tax identification number. You can issue reverse charge invoices and participate fully in the European VAT system. A very, very important point and not something to be taken for granted. There are also locations where this is not the case. Then there's the topic of bank accounts. How easy is it for me to get business accounts? In my experience, it's relatively difficult to get business accounts in Madeira. The banks take 1 or 2 months, often make things a bit difficult, especially when the company is not based locally. Unfortunately, it's even more complicated in Cyprus. I also advise against Cypriot business banks, simply because it takes a lot of time and energy. And usually you don't need it. We have so many FinTech options nowadays, like Revolut Business or Wise, that you can usually get by very well with them. Even in the 6 or 7 figure range, in my opinion, it absolutely makes sense to continue working with such online banks and fintechs. They're also regulated. It's not some kind of Wild West or anything like that. So I think you can place a certain amount of trust in them. We currently have a whole comprehensive range of innovative fintech options readily available, both at the Cypriot and also at the Madeira level. A small bonus point actually goes to Madeira here because Wise is available for Madeira, that is, for Portuguese companies. Currently, it's not available for Cyprus. When I say currently, unfortunately, it's already been a few years like this. There is a waiting list for Cypriot companies. We don't have that in Madeira. So here, I would even give a small half point, so to speak, to Madeira when it comes to the selection of business banks. Basically, I think at both locations, you're better off if you avoid using a local bank. Unless, of course, there's an important reason to open a local business account. Of course, we support that as well, no question. But naturally, I prefer it when we don't burden our clients with unnecessary effort. So it's really just a pure options. And in most cases, it's really easygoing, right? 95% of our clients get by without traditional business banks. Let's move on to the requirements. What requirements do I have to meet if I want to set up a company in Cyprus or in Madeira? I'll start with the Cypriot side. In Cyprus, I need a local managing director, I need a local address, and I need a business activity that, let's say, is legal, of course, but there are no special requirements beyond that. Basically, anything that does not require a license or special permit can be operated through a Cyprus Limited. So it's relatively liberal, and let's say there are no particularly strict requirements. Ultimately, anyone can set up a company in Cyprus and either appoint themselves as managing director if they want to take up residence in Cyprus, or they can hire someone locally, perhaps even just for the initial phase. You can use a nominee director so that you have someone on site to manage the business during this initial phase, simply to buy time before hiring someone permanently. So there are many options available, and I would say that setting up a company in Cyprus is relatively straightforward and can be done within a few weeks. Of course, the devil is in the details. Naturally, we always review the articles of association in detail, and of course, we also need to fully understand the business in order to support you optimally. But in principle, I think the general conditions and requirements can be easily met by anyone. On the Madeira side, things are a bit different. In this special economic zone, I definitely need at least one employee. The employee should also be regularly employed. By the way, the official minimum wage in Cyprus is 950 euros. Madeira is quite similar, so currently it's also around 960 euros. So there's hardly any difference, let's say roughly 1,000 euros at both locations. At the end of the day, that's really just a nuance. So you need a full-time employee in Madeira, just like you need a managing director in Cyprus. You also need an office in Madeira, so that's important too. You need this place of business. A mailbox address isn't enough, obviously, but that's also the case in Cyprus. And now comes the key difference. You need an activity that is actually permitted in the special economic zone. Not all activities are allowed. We should always check that on a case-by-case basis. Feel free to reach out to me and let me know which activities you're interested in. The essential thing is we need an investment. The company has a period of 2 full years to make a significant investment within the region of Madeira, either in a tangible asset such as essential computers, necessary vehicles, valuable real estate, or other similar physical items, or in intangible assets, which include a registered trademark, specialized software, a protected patent, or any other comparable intellectual property. But in any case, at least 75,000 euros must be invested within 2 years. The investment can also be made from the company's ongoing profits, so that's also possible. You can start your business in this special economic zone and then gradually accumulate funds and then make the investments from the ongoing profits. That is definitely possible, definitely realistic. Of course, you won't get a property for 75,000 euros. Madeira, clearly, you'll have to dig a bit deeper into your pockets there. But of course, that's a very common approach. Something people do quite often. They say, okay, then I'll just buy a property, have a nice vacation home, or use it for Airbnb rentals or whatever else. And on the other hand, that way I've met my investment requirements. And the company only pays 5% withholding tax. So that's the main difference in terms of requirements compared to Cyprus. Compared to Madeira, both are, in my view, very, very attractive because both are locations that really work well, where you can easily achieve your goals, where you can build your business solidly and for the long term and pursue your activities. I always find that important, this stability, this reliability, that you simply look for a reputable, solid financial center for your activities. What fits best in your scenario? We can gladly discuss that in a personal conversation. Feel free to choose an appointment. You'll find a link below this video where you can sign up. And then we can soon discuss your plans and weigh together what really fits your business best and most optimally. The conversation is completely free of charge and without obligation. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy if I can help you a bit further. And feel free to give me a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for regular updates on tax optimization and emigrating. And not just about Madeira and Cyprus, but also about Singapore, Georgia, Ireland, and many other locations. So thank you very, very much and see you very, very soon. Yours, Florian Doc.